Right, we all know Chris Hemsworth. We all know him as the Mighty Thor. We all know him as the Huntsman from Snow White and the Huntsman. And we also know him as Captain Kirk's dad in the Star Trek sort of reboot films. But can he really be an actor? Like an actor. You know, kind of like the films that aren't, you know, that in comic book films, sci-fi films, and even horror films for that matter, or fantasy films. Well, my answer to that is yes. And if you really need to see a film to see that, that film has to be Rush. Rush is based on the year of 1976 of the Formula 1 racing rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Now, James Hunt has obviously been portrayed as Chris Hemsworth, and Niki Lauda has been portrayed by Daniel Burlesi. I don't know this guy's real name. This guy is complete unknown to me, and that's actually maybe quite a good thing. So sorry if I actually butchered that name. I'm completely sorry. I suck at pronouncing names, really do. But let's start off with Chris Hemsworth. He was fantastic in this. This was really the film I think that really shows his acting sort of chops in it. Obviously he plays the Mighty Thor, and obviously his film's coming out, you know, at November. But this film, I feel, is really probably one of his better films that he's done. Basically because he plays that Playboyish sort of type really well. You know, the guy with the long blonde hair, you know, the party animal. But he really, because what's quite good is he plays that role sort of well, but he also plays it when it comes to real serious tones, and that was really cool. And the guy that plays Niki Lauda was outstanding. I mean, this guy just came out of nowhere. I have never heard of this guy before, and by seeing this guy was just really good. Obviously, if you're watching the film, you want to punch this guy in the face because you think he's just an obnoxious a-hole. But the guy is really good. This guy has really good moments, and one of the best moments is when you get to that there's a certain crash scene in the film that really affects kind of the whole sort of film between sort of these two, and after the build up to lead was after this, it just leaves you kind of a good sort of strong lump in your throat because it gets really quite emotional, and I think for that, one of the best things that they do is, this is something that they've done really well, is they've kind of blended in some of the old footage from that sort of year into this film, and it's done very subtly. It's done so well that you can even tell whether it was reshot or if it was actually new footage. And they both narrate in the film as well, which is pretty good. It's great to hear these two different perspectives from two different types of characters, because these two are completely opposite one another, but they have the same goal. One other thing I will say is the director, I think Ron Howard, he did a tremendous job at it, and the score by Hans Zimmer was amazing. At first I couldn't really tell it was Hans Zimmer until I saw maybe the credits. But thinking back, there are some sort of tones that he uses that are very Hans Zimmerish. I honestly think this is going to be a fan favourite film. This is going to be this year's Argo. I don't know whether or not if it will win maybe any Oscars or get nominated, because it's kind of been so early, but I actually really love it. I did it really well, and that's all I really have to say. Okay, maybe one more thing that I'll say is, you know, this is a 2-hour film, but it doesn't feel like a 2-hour film. You're on your edge of the seat, tense, you know, it's fun, good time, absolutely loved it. And this is a definitely must see for everyone, whether or not if you're not into Formula 1 at all. You don't really need to, at all. You don't need to know everything about Formula 1, but this is just really great. And the thing I'll say is, I think the true Formula 1 fans will utterly love this film so much. This will probably be their film of the year. I don't know if it is mine yet, but I really love this film.